Good morning, everybody. This is Andy Smith, your host with the most, with another book look for the week. Guys, you know my obsession with how to draw books. I just love them, and if they're cheap, I really like them. And this one I picked up a few years ago. I was going through my shelf, cleaning up over the weekend, and came across it. It says 1995. Guys, I did not pay that for this book. I paid I believe $2 or $3. It was in one of those boxes you see at shows where the guy's just like, cheap stuff. Anyhow, How to Draw Comics, straight to the point, Topaz books by the pros, created by Albert Ochino. Not the best cover design when you're cutting off text. I mean, I know he just pulled stuff from the inside of the book to put this together, but come on. I don't even know how old this book is. Let's see if there's a copyright date in it. 2011. There you go. And there is an ISBN number and stuff. Topaz Books. Don't even know if that website's still around. I'll have to do a little check-in before I post this and see. A little thank you with some hand drawings here. Let's start at the beginning. So he's talking about superhero stuff. I don't know if Albert, Mr. Albert there drew this stuff or if he just pulled stuff. But, you know, for $3, when I flipped through it, I was like, you know what? This is kind of cool. I'll get it. Because I like stuff like that. Like I look at this drawing and I go, that's actually a cool looking breakdown. It'd be fun to actually do finishes over that. This book definitely falls into the category of more classic type superhero stuff. And what I mean by that is superhero type proportion and art from like 70s and 80s and such. How to construct a human figure. This book does not go into super detail. I want to say this is probably Rich Buckler artwork, because it has kind of a Neil Adams vibe to it. And, you know, it's not Neil. If Neil, rest in peace, Mr. Adams, ever did do a book like this in his life, Neil would have definitely had his name all over it. And I wish he did. I remember talking to Neil saying, man, I wish you would do a book on how to draw. And, you know, he liked the idea, but just never got around to it. But I think if Neil Adams did a How to Draw Comics book, it would have been great. So anyhow, back to this. You know, this book I wouldn't say is for a beginner because it glosses over a lot of stuff, just kind of hits on key points on things. I mean, it's not a super thick book. It's only like 80 pages or so. You know, figure construction here doesn't really show much. Doesn't really say much either. Like I said, the reason I say I think it might be Rich Buckler doing some of this art is because Rich did do a book on how to draw comics. I don't know if I've ever done that one on my book look. I'll have to do that. I'll have to look through and see if I have. If I have, well, then I have. But if I haven't, I'll have to do that. But Rich, you know, being kind of a Neil Adams guy, you can see just from these poses and stuff, and even the figure construction. So I'm going to say that a lot of this stuff there was based on Neil. Now, these heads, for instance, though, I don't know who drew them, but that is very Andrew Loomis right there. So whoever put this book together was definitely looking at different things. This is kind of Bern Hogarth looking, actually. But this is good, simplified structures and stuff. That's cool. This is good. It's just a reference for turning the head. You know, quick reference guide there. Saves from having to get a mirror to look at something like that. Because trust me, old school was getting 2 mirrors and putting one up to see that angle. I mean, this is just a repeat of a few pages before. It's okay, you know, putting the head in perspective. This kind of Bern Hogarth-y looking. Comparison of male and female head. Let's see how deep he dives into that. Well, okay, so we're looking at some male heads here. Different angles and such, so, kind of helps. But not really teaching you how to do it. Just kind of going, well, these are the different angles, copy it, and, learn on your own. So far, not a lot when it came to male and female. Maybe it was just that one page. Now, this is very George Bridgman looking to me. I don't think I ever did George Bridgman's book, A Guide to Drawing. George Bridgman's A Guide to Drawing Life or something like that, human figure. I'll have to do that one. George Bridgman is just fantastic. This looks right out of Bridgman, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. Head and neck movement, okay. Looks more Rich Buckler again. So maybe this guy worked with Rich to do the illustrations. Like I said, this book is okay. Just basically look through. You need to already know stuff, It doesn't do a deep dive really in anything. But like I said, for $3, it was worth it. $20, there's no way I would have paid $20. Maybe 10. If this was $10 brand new, I mean, it's totally just black and white. There's no color to it. The back, once again, you can kind of see, kind of like I was saying, the drawing's nice, but it kind of harkens back to 1970s, 80s type, this is how you draw superheroes. Not really what you would do today. And it's not exaggerated that much. Does show nice stuff, the interlocking of the muscles in the armpit area. That's always hard to do. Like, I mean, that's heroic for, 30 years ago. Well, actually, I take it back. You look at some of the art that's coming out these days, and yeah, now that I think about it, 90s was about exaggeration and stuff, and I still do exaggeration in my work, and that's what I enjoy. This is just a little too standard for my taste. Showing the importance of the contour lines and stuff. I mean, this is just right out of anatomy books. This almost looks like it's out of the anatomy book I got from the Kubert School by, I think his name's David Rubin, Rubin. I'll have to look. I still have that anatomy book next to my desk, and I'm almost positive I did do a book look on that one. Once again, I'll go back and check, and if I did not do a book look on the anatomy book that was part of my art kit from the Kubert School, I will be doing one on it then. Very Neil Adams looking. Once again, I think it's Rich Buckler, which, was great. When he worked at DC, Rich was mostly doing like a Neil Adams. And when he worked at Marvel, he was doing a lot of Kirby swipes and stuff. So this is cool, seeing the bent knee. Kind of difficult to draw, seeing the leg and foreshortening and stuff. Going into the foot, kind of Bridgman-esque once again, the different planes of the toes and stuff. How it fits into like a shoe. So like I said, if you already have drawing knowledge, this book is good as like a visual reference just to look through quickly. This is very George Bridgman right here. I like this with the fingers. I like this with the fist. You see a lot of guys draw fists where it's like a straight line here and then it's parallel line up here, and it just doesn't work. So keep these things in mind. These angles here and stuff. So even though this is a lot of George Bridgman, that George Bridgman book is thick. It's very detailed, and it might be a lot for somebody to consume, whereas this is an easier breakdown of it. is what I would say. This is cool, just breaking down the planes of the fingers and the hand, which is very helpful in regards to doing lighting and such. But it does have a lot of nice hand drawings. This is cool to show the knuckles and the planes. The side of the knuckles really helps out when doing lighting, so that's cool. But it's not really how to draw, because it's just showing. It's not telling. And if it's how to do something, how to do anything, you would want to explain it as well. Capes and cowls, I mean, kind of neat. You know, showing how the cape wrapped around, thinking about the body underneath it and stuff. That's cool. You know, if this book was how to draw superhero comics and it just had chapters on like capes and then boots, different gloves and accessories, stuff like that, that'd be kind of cool. Nice to see how the folds overlap. And then, of course, you can exaggerate it as much as you want. A la Todd McFarlane, who really got it going. And then if you backtrack it from him, Marshall Rogers and doing Batman in the 70s, did great stuff with Batman's cape. Cape in perspective. I mean, very new. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is Rich Buckler. But hey, if you know better, I'm always down for being corrected in the comment section. So let me know. Once again, these are classic figures, you know, kind of like Neil back in the 70s and stuff. And this was great for superhero stuff then. Now, you'd want to be a little more exaggerated than this. Building a better superhero. Let's see what they have to say here. Step 1, real proportions. That's from the cover. Step 2, exaggerated. I mean, this could be exaggerated even more. Wider shoulders, definitely thicker. And then here we have some lighting, generic lighting. This says finished. How to exaggerate human proportions, normal, super. Another reason I say Rich Buckler, I will have to look. If I didn't go over Rich Buckler's How to Draw book, I will definitely do a book look on it. I just have to check through my old book look library and see, because Rich did stuff like this in his book as well. And I think this guy maybe asked Rich if he could pull stuff, so. I mean, this is so Neil Adams looking. I wouldn't be surprised if this is Rich and he just pulled it from something Neil did. You'd think I know, being such a big Neil Adams fan, and maybe that is because, you know, subconsciously I do remember seeing that in the deep recesses of my brain. Model figures. So that's it. I mean, Alberto Ochino is a publishing and marketing entrepreneur whose brilliant strategies and business maneuvers have shaped a lot of what you see in magazine, newspaper, district. So Alberto did not draw this stuff. I wish he would have gave credit to who did. This is not just a book. It's a scholastic service, a must-have. Okay. I've never seen it before except for when I bought it at that convention for a few bucks. So must not have been that much. How to Draw Comics by Pros, but let me just double check. See, this is Rich Buckler here from his book. I don't think, I did gloss over kind of quick. I don't know. Special thanks to Susan Occhino, probably his wife, for inspiration and support. Elizabeth Helling for her contributing help. But I mean, yeah, there's no credit to who did the art, which I think is bad. I do like that figure, though. It's just classic. So, well, hope you enjoyed the book look. As always, sorry about the camera shake. As always, thank you for watching these book looks. Like, subscribe, hit that like, hit that thumbs up. Takes 2 seconds. You watch the video, just tap it. Boom. You could have tapped it many times in that little bit. But thank you for watching sincerely. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. And of course, I'll be back next week with another book look. And go sign up for my new campaign, Lilineth, Infernal Conflict, launching soon. And core draft books are shipping soon. They should be here from the printer any day now. Thank you guys. Take care.